Hi, I'm Val Schmidt, author of The 2-Week Brain Reset. This can be found on Amazon, on Kindle and paperback versions, but I'm reading it here. And we are on section 2, chapter 6, which is acceptable foods for mental health. We just covered awesome foods for mental health in chapter 5, the most important chapter. So make sure you give that a listen if you haven't. And now we're going to talk about acceptable foods for mental health. In the last chapter, we learned about all the best foods for mental wellness: animal protein, green vegetables, fruits, good fats, and water. The majority of your 2-week meal plan should consist of choices from those food groups. However, there are 4 additional groups that are acceptable to consume in moderate quantities, which I will cover here. That's awesome news, right? You get more food. First up is dairy. Dairy products can provide several nutrients that are beneficial to mental health. They are a rich source of calcium, which is essential for proper functioning of the nervous system. Calcium plays a crucial role in neurotransmitter release, nerve signaling, and the maintenance of brain cells. A well-functioning nervous system is vital for optimal mental health. Many dairy products, such as milk and yogurt, are fortified with vitamin D. This vitamin is important for brain health as it helps regulate mood and may play a pivotal role in reducing the risk of depression. A deficiency in vitamin D has been associated with an increased risk of mental health problems, including the dreaded seasonal affective disorder. That's when you get really sad in the wintertime. And I get that here. I live in Cleveland. It's a sad place in the winter. Dairy products, particularly milk, cheese, and yogurt, are also good sources of high-quality protein. Dairy also contains various B vitamins. These vitamins are involved in regulating metabolism, neurotransmitter synthesis, and the maintenance of a healthy nervous system. An adequate intake of B vitamins is necessary for supporting cognitive function and mood regulation. Some dairy products, such as milk and yogurt, can be fortified with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA. While the amounts of DHA in fortified dairy products may not be as high as in fatty fish or algae oil, they can still be a supplemental source of this important nutrient. This all sounds great, right? So why are dairy products only considered acceptable and not awesome? In truth, not everyone tolerates dairy well. Some individuals may even have lactose intolerance or dairy allergies. In such cases, alternative sources of these nutrients should be considered. So how do you know if you have a lactose sensitivity? There are multiple ways to test it. You can go to a doctor for an assessment in a clinical setting, and there are at-home tests you can order online as well. While not the most accurate, my favorite and the easiest and cheapest way is to try an elimination diet. This is when you completely eliminate a food for a period of time and then afterward consume a large portion of it and monitor how your body reacts. So for a lactose test, you would avoid eating any dairy products for at least 3 days. You could do 5 or 7 if you're feeling motivated, and then consume something dairy heavy for breakfast and lunch on the 4th day. You'll then want to pay attention to your body and your mood to see if you experience any negative symptoms as a result. This might include bloating, lethargy, irritability, etc. If you're not feeling great, you are probably sensitive to lactose, and you may be sensitive and had not realized it your entire life, so you might want to try this even if you don't think you are. Therefore, you should consider avoiding or limiting your consumption. This test can be done at the same time as the 2-week brain reset if that's easiest, or you can do the test separately before you start the program. Even if you don't think you have a sensitivity, it's always good to test it. You might realize it's affecting you more than you think. For those who can tolerate dairy, incorporating it as part of a balanced diet can contribute to meeting overall nutritional needs and be beneficial for mental health. Here are some common sources: Greek yogurt, full-fat Greek yogurt, full-fat milk, cheese, butter, whey protein, and sour cream. If you find that you are not sensitive to it, go ahead and have a few servings of dairy per day. Just like anything else, moderation and variety are key. Also, be wary of added sugar and overly processed products. Check the ingredients list and put down anything that has more than a few ingredients, especially if that list contains anything you don't recognize or can't pronounce. So we want to eat as few processed foods as we can, but things like Greek yogurt and cheese, they are a little processed, but there's very minimal ingredients in these things, so it's okay to consume in moderation. Next is whole grains. Whole grains offer several benefits for mental health due to their nutritional composition. They are complex carbohydrates that provide a steady and sustained release of glucose into the bloodstream. This gradual release maintains stable blood sugar, providing consistent energy supply to the brain, which supports cognitive function, focus, and mood regulation. Additionally, whole grains are rich in dietary fiber. This has several benefits for mental health. Fiber helps regulate blood sugar levels, preventing sudden spikes and crashes that can affect mood and energy levels. Fiber also promotes healthy gut function by supporting the growth of beneficial gut bacteria. Even more good news about whole grains is that they are a good source of B vitamins, including thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and folate. Like we've covered, those B vitamins play a crucial role in brain function and the production of neurotransmitters involved in mood regulation. Adequate intake of these vitamins is essential for maintaining mental health and cognitive function. Brown rice, quinoa, and oats are whole grains that are excellent sources of magnesium. This mineral is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in the body, including those related to brain function and mood regulation. Magnesium has been linked to reducing symptoms of anxiety and depression, and consuming whole grains can help ensure sufficient magnesium intake. Try saying that 3 times fast. Whole grains also contain various antioxidants which have protective effects on the brain, as we know. Antioxidants help combat oxidative stress and inflammation, which are associated with neurodegenerative diseases and mental health disorders. By including whole grains in your diet, you can increase your intake of these beneficial antioxidants. Some whole grains, like oats and quinoa, contain the amino acid tryptophan, like bananas, right? Tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin, a neurotransmitter known as the feel-good chemical. Adequate levels of serotonin are essential for mood regulation, and consuming whole grains can support the production of this important neurotransmitter. With all of these benefits, you may again be wondering, why are whole grains considered just acceptable, not awesome? Here's the thing. Like dairy products, people also tend to be sensitive to whole grains or gluten, and some even have a wheat allergy. While we typically think of food sensitivities or allergies as causing physical symptoms, they are also able to affect your cognitive function and mood. And why wouldn't they? Your brain is an organ just like your stomach or your lungs. That being said, you can test for gluten or wheat sensitivity the same way I covered in the dairy section, with a clinical test or with an elimination diet. If you find that you do not have a sensitivity, please incorporate a gluten-based whole grain in your diet at least once per day, and maybe add a gluten-free option daily as well. Here's a list with the starred options being those that contain gluten: bread, pasta, cereals, other baked goods, barley, rye bread, spelt bread, quinoa, brown rice, oatmeal, and granola. Remember, it's important to choose whole grains over refined grains whenever possible. Refined grains such as white bread or white pasta have been processed, removing the bran and germ, which are the parts that contain many of the nutrients mentioned above. Opting for whole grain options like whole wheat, whole oats, brown rice, quinoa, and barley can maximize the mental health benefits associated with grain consumption. Then we have starchy vegetables. While not as healthy as the green or leafy kind, starchy vegetables do have some merit and are beneficial when consumed in moderation, like 1 serving per day. They are classified as complex carbohydrates that contain valuable fiber and antioxidants. Here are some examples you can incorporate into your brain reset: potatoes, corn, beets, peas, butternut squash, sweet potatoes, and pumpkin. Then we have legumes. Beans, lentils, and chickpeas are legumes that offer several benefits for mental health due to their nutritional composition. They are an excellent plant-based source of protein. As we've covered, protein is essential for the production of our favorite neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine. Therefore, including an adequate amount of protein in your diet, which can come from legumes, can support optimal brain function and well-being. Legumes are high in dietary fiber, which helps support healthy digestion and promotes a balanced gut microbiome. Also rich in B vitamins, legumes can help with various biochemical processes in the brain, including the synthesis of neurotransmitters. Adequate intake of B vitamins is essential for maintaining mental health and cognitive function. They also contain complex carbohydrates that provide a steady release of glucose into the bloodstream. You're seeing a trend here with the steady release of glucose. We don't want spikes in our blood sugar because that's what kind of, makes us a little wonky. This gradual release helps stabilize blood sugar levels, providing a consistent energy supply to the brain. Stable blood sugar levels can support cognitive function, focus, and mood regulation. And it doesn't end there. Legumes are a great source of antioxidants, including flavonoids and polyphenols. Antioxidants help protect against oxidative stress and inflammation, as we know. And finally, legumes have a low glycemic index, meaning they are digested and absorbed slowly, leading to a gradual rise in blood sugar levels. Foods with a low glycemic index have been associated with improved mood and better mental health outcomes. However, being tough to digest is why I categorize legumes as an acceptable and not quite awesome food. If you find that beans upset your stomach or make you gassy, they might not be the best choice for you. So, like all foods, remain cognizant of any negative symptoms you may experience after consuming them. If you don't find that you have an issue, here is a list of some of my favorites. Chickpeas or hummus. I eat hummus probably every day. Black beans, kidney beans, soybeans, split peas, black-eyed peas, lima beans, red beans, and edamame. I love eating edamame as a snack. I just buy frozen and microwave and put some salt on it. It's delicious. And fun to eat too. I like fun to eat foods. Incorporating legumes into your diet as a plant-based protein source, whether in soups, salads, stews, or some other way, can provide mental health benefits along with a range of other nutrients. Again, take note of how you're feeling after consumption and do an elimination test if necessary. And don't be afraid to try new recipes. That's it. We have officially covered everything you can consume during your 2-week brain reset. This should provide you with several weeks worth of options and ideas for meals and snacks. Speaking of snacks, eating often is very important. Make sure you are eating 3 solid meals a day. Do not skip breakfast, as well as a healthy snack in between each meal. Eating regularly is important for mental wellness because it stabilizes your blood sugar levels, gives you a consistent energy supply, and balances your nutrient intake. Got it? So to reiterate, you should be eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a healthy snack in between each. Please see the sample week of meal plans at the end of the book to get a head start on planning. I have also provided a long list with all of the foods you can eat, so planning your meals should not be a difficult part of this process. The hardest part will likely be maintaining sufficient willpower to avoid the bad foods, which we'll talk about in the next chapter. That was chapter 6, acceptable foods for mental health, and next up is chapter 7, awful foods for mental health. Not a fun chapter, but we got to get through it, so I'll see you there.